There's a lot of WWE superstars that kind of need a little change, a little tweak in character. We're going to look at who needs to turn heel, who needs to turn babyface, kind of shake things up. The first on the list is kind of an obvious one, Kevin Owens. I think that we are about to see prize fighter Kevin Owens make a return to WWE, change up his character. He has been just kind of a middle of the road babyface this whole time. Now, I really like Kevin Owens. I have followed his career for a very long time, and my favorite version of him has been the no-nonsense prize fighter version, the one that we saw in Ring of Honor, going up into NXT especially, debuting, going up against John Cena. That version of Kevin Owens is like my favorite. One of my favorite moments too from KO was when he won the Universal Championship when Triple H helped him. I thought that was just so cool and so random. But I love that version of Kevin Owens where it's like he's gonna do anything he can to get the title, make the most money for his family. It makes him just a more interesting character than what he is now. He had the whole fight with the Bloodline for so long. He is now just kind of doing whatever, helping out Cody Rhodes, which for his character hasn't made too much sense in the first place. Because if you remember, he wasn't in favor of Cody that much. Remember when Cody came over to Raw and Kevin Owens was over there? He thought that a lot of the stuff was his fault, was Cody's fault. So like, I kind of feel like they could revisit that story and try to get it so that Kevin Owens actually turns his back on Cody. It feels like after SmackDown that they're definitely headed in that direction. It's just a matter of when. Will they save it all the way until Bash in Berlin, where Kevin Owens will lose to Cody because it's Cody Rhodes, and then you have Kevin Owens actually hit him with a steel chair at Bash in Berlin? Love to see it, because I think that you could, with a heel Kevin Owens, give Cody something to do for several months if they want to go in that direction. I think it's kind of needed, especially on SmackDown for Cody. He's got no heels. He's got nobody to fight against, which leads us to the next person on this list, Randy Orton. Yes, Randy Orton is going to go off and fight Gunther at Bash in Berlin. Very excited for that match. Randy Orton gets some of the biggest reactions ever. He's a legend. I love it. But my favorite version of Randy is the snake version of a heel, just a nasty punting people in the head. Favorite version of Randy Orton. And I think the time will come this year. I think this year we will see Randy Orton turn heel. Hopefully by like Survivor Series. If not, it would be into next year, into the Royal Rumble. But I would love it to be Cody versus Randy for the title. Give Randy the win. Randy Orton as a heel makes a lot of sense. I can see him getting disgruntled by losing to Gunther and feeling like he needs to do something different. He goes back over to SmackDown because, again, if he gets traded to Raw and then he stays on Raw, that's cool, but it'd be more fun if he's a heel. What's he gonna do on Raw? And if he goes back to SmackDown after losing to Gunther, what's he gonna do? Just keep feuding with the Bloodline over and over again? I don't need that. What I need is for Cody to come back and go, hey, you lost to Gunther. That's a shame. And then Randy's just like, the hell. And then he just gives him an RKO and the crowd goes berserk. I love to see it because you can go through so much history between Cody and Randy. It's probably a storyline they want to do. Just going to be if the cards all match up and work out this year and going into WrestleMania because of The Rock, Roman, the whole storyline with the Bloodline. Randy Orton is another one. He's got to turn heel. Next on my list, AJ Styles. Hasn't been on TV for a while. They've taken him off for a little bit. He did like a match in Japan. His last feud was against Cody. The matches were incredible. He's a heel. And before that, he was fighting LA Knight at WrestleMania. I like AJ to come back. I kind of like to see if he would get traded over to Raw. AJ is such a versatile wrestler that you could have him be a heel like he is, or you can turn him babyface. I'd kind of like, I like AJ Styles as a heel overall. Cocky, arrogant, he's super jacked now too, which just it's insane at his age. But I feel like, again, he's done everything he can do on SmackDown. He's had the matches with Cody and he has lost. Really would find it interesting if he went back to Raw, maybe as a tweener, or he leaned more babyface. I don't need AJ to just keep doing the same thing because nothing's going on. He's not doing anything. And Michin Mia Yim, she's also like a face, and they were associated with the OC, and the actual OC, the brothers, the Good Brothers, they're doing whatever. They're in NXT. So AJ's on his own. I think if you moved him over to Raw, you get some really cool, interesting matches. You could do face AJ Styles against Gunther, which I would love to see. I also want to see AJ with a world title once again, but you can have AJ mixing it up with a lot of different people if he is a face. Like when Punk and Drew and Seth, when that eventually ends after WrestleMania, AJ Styles is somebody that you can insert in there. Bronson Reed versus AJ Styles could be really good as you're trying to heat up Bronson Reed. Braun Breaker versus AJ Styles for the IC title. I think there's a lot of options if you switch AJ over, but also make him a heel. Doesn't have to be like his smiling babyface like Vince would do. You bring him back when the time is right, and I think that might be what they're also doing with AJ, because they just haven't just put him back on SmackDown for no reason. I feel like Triple H likes to hold people back so that when there is a story, then they bring him out again. So AJ, face, Raw, tweener, just phenomenal. Okay, this next one I think has been long overdue. I think he has needed to get a change, break off in the tag division for a long time. Montez Ford. I have wanted for years to see Montez Ford break off from the Street Profits. I think that they've had so many opportunities. Even when he had the group with Bobby Lashley, I thought, okay, cool, this is gonna be a great faction, and I could still enjoy the Street Profits and all of that. But then I was looking forward to like, oh, if they really lean into this, that they could eventually break Montez Ford off and make him a heel. And he could go have a big run, or he could be the babyface. Montez Ford, like they had the match he was in at Elimination Chamber, like whatever it was, a year ago, and he was outstanding. He's so good. He's so good in the ring. He's great on the mic. He's got all the personality. He's got the size and everything they're looking for. And I've seen I like the Street Profits. And Angelo Dawkins, great. But I've seen everything that they can do in the tag division. It'd be cool for both guys to see what they could do as single stars, but Montez Ford, I feel like, has the edge, and it's just somebody I want to see break off. Get him away from being a smiling babyface. Like, I would love it if he loses to the Bloodline in this next tag team match, Street Profits lose, and Ford at the end of the match turns and beats up Angelo Dawkins. Give them a one-on-one match that they could do at, say, like Bad Blood, and they break off. And then you have Ford go over to Raw or stay on SmackDown. There's a trade, something like that. You separate these guys and see what they can do as single stars. Montez Ford is there. He's been there for a long time. I just want to see what the heck they could do with him if he was like a really egotistical heel on either brand. Or you have him just heated up as a babyface, move him to Raw, fight Braun Breaker, go for the IC title, keep him on SmackDown, fight LA Knight. Promos between Ford and LA Knight would be amazing. I think there's a lot you could do there, but I do feel like if the Street Profits lose to the Bloodline, which I expect they will, and that tag team match against DIY, outstanding. But assuming they lose to Bloodline, what are you doing now? Now you just have the Street Profits who lost the #1 contendership. They just keep doing tag team matches? Like, you've done everything you can. Montez Ford, face or heel, either way, but break off and do his own thing. Somebody else in the tag team, next person, Jade Cargill. It will happen eventually. Will it happen like really soon? I don't know, because they could make this the WrestleMania match. Bianca versus Jade, that match is going to happen. But I still feel like they are trying to work with Jade and get her to a point where they're comfortable with her in like a singles match, because she doesn't have very many singles matches at all. And they are very much into the squash match realm. I think that they still got time to build her. They still got time to do a lot. But if they're going to keep doing this whole tag team thing for the rest of the year, I do think that you could get to like the Royal Rumble. And in the Rumble itself, you have Jade throw Bianca out of the ring, and that initiates their split. It could be like a best friend rivalry thing where they eventually kind of turn Jade a little bit more heelish and is more natural, or she just throws her out of the Rumble, says that's enough, and then they fight at WrestleMania. That match is going to happen, and like, say what you will, if Jade, you feel like she's not ready and all of that, still a marquee player, somebody huge, and that would be a big marquee match, Bianca versus Jade one-on-one. Would it be for the title? Probably not, but you still have that match at WrestleMania, and I don't see that waiting another full calendar year. So Jade, I think, needs to go heel, be a lot of fun, and she could lean into being just a dominant squash type of wrestler like she is. Next up, Jimmy Uso. This seems kind of obvious with everything with the Bloodline, and I don't know how we're going to get there, and that's also the fun of it all, is that we don't know how this is going to happen. But I think Jimmy's going to come back at some point, very soon, so that he's going to maybe come to the aid of Roman Reigns as he's getting beaten down by new Bloodline. Jimmy comes out, Jimmy is a face. And that could help set things up and get the ball rolling for reuniting him with Jay, Sammy, and you got OG Bloodline versus new Bloodline. And maybe that's War Games. But I do feel like that's happening really, really fast if they do that. And I did see like an interview with Paul Heyman at the Fanatics thing where he was just talking about how like, you don't know what's going to happen, like when Paul Heyman's going to return and what Roman Reigns is going to do next. I think the story will start to really heat up, but knowing the Bloodline and how Triple H likes to book this thing, and Paul Heyman and all these guys, they like to take their time with it. So like, if you just all of a sudden had Jimmy show up, and then just the rest of the Bloodline 2 weeks later, they show up as well, that's a little quick. That's a little quick. But Jimmy comes back, be a face. We're off on the races for Bloodline. Next, Tiffany Stratton, Miss Money in the Bank. Yes, she is a heel right now. She does great heel work, but before she won Money in the Bank, she's still a heel, but every time she's on TV, she's getting big reactions. She get big pops, bigger and bigger reactions. She still does. So I think that eventually you're gonna need to turn Tiffany Stratton. And think about it too. If you got Tiffany pegged as kind of like a next level babyface, somebody that the fans will get behind, even if she is kind of snarky and egotistical in character, she is somebody that they want to see take down Nia Jax. So I think it's a cool way to get Tiffany to become a babyface by taking down Nia Jax, who the fans just may not be into at all, and they just want to see her just get her comeuppance at some point. So Tiffany goes face probably in the next 6 months when she wins the belt, I assume off of Nia Jax. Which then leads into the next person that I think needs to be a heel when they return. And they could probably feud with Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair. Charlotte's been off with a big injury for a very long time. Don't know her status, don't know if she's able to come back at this point. Rumble kind of makes sense if you were to bring back Charlotte and she was healthy and ready to go. And I could see Charlotte coming back as a heel. She's best as a heel. They've tried so many times with Charlotte trying to be a tweener, trying to be a babyface and smile and all this stuff, and it just doesn't quite feel the same, quite work the same. Charlotte is best when she is a full-blown heel Flair doing her thing. And inevitably, like you guys have said in the comments too, you're like, Charlotte inevitably comes back and wins belt on SmackDown in one day in her return. Could see that again, but I think that you could have Charlotte come back as a heel and take on a face Tiffany Stratton, say at WrestleMania for the belt. So Charlotte, when she comes back, I'm pegging her as a heel. I got 2 more on the list, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoy content like this, do Matt a favor because we're just hitting about 10,000 subscribers, and I appreciate it if you guys would hit subscribe on the channel, hit a like on this video. It helps the whole algorithm, this whole thing, keep us afloat and doing our thing. Now, next on the list, Xavier Woods. He's in this whole thing with New Day and New Day, and he's got Final Testament in his ear, and I just kind of wonder if they would pull the trigger on this. Do you eventually try to turn Xavier Woods heel? Seems next to impossible. And they're doing this character change or shift in a natural way, which I really like. It's not Woods just turning around and blasting Kofi Kingston because he's jealous. You now have Odyssey Jones in there mixing it up, and it's an interesting way and a fun way to get Odyssey Jones on TV finally, build his character. He's in there as a face. It could be that eventually Odyssey Jones turns heel, but Xavier Woods becoming some kind of heel in his own way, like in terms of jealousy, and because he is the New Day with Big E, with Kofi, that's their thing. So it's like you understand his jealousy, you understand where Woods is coming from, so you empathize with him, especially if he starts becoming a little bit nastier. He doesn't have to be this full-blown Vince McMahon style heel all of a sudden and turn and start taking out Kofi Kingston and Odyssey Jones, but you like to see this kind of evolving character. You can't make him a full-blown heel. Xavier Woods is way too much a babyface. He's got up, down, down. It just doesn't make sense for his character, like at all. So, and it would have to reconcile at some point. Maybe with Big E coming in, even if he can't wrestle, but try and, reform the New Day properly and get everybody on the same page. Maybe that does it. So Xavier Woods, though, I'd like to see them play more into this. The final superstar on this list that I think needs to turn heel eventually. This will not happen anytime soon. Cody Rhodes. I think Cody needs to become a gigantic heel. I think they can do it in the way of Roman Reigns, where maybe it's a long title reign. Maybe he does drop the title, pick up the title later on, something like that, which I'd personally like to see. I don't need to see another 3-year title reign from anybody. But I think in the vein of Roman Reigns, in terms of he went on so long as a heel, Roman did, you could do that with Cody where he goes 3 years, 4 years as a babyface from the time he returned to WWE till maybe another year or so, after things with The Rock and Bloodline kind of are done. Once that chapter kind of ends and Cody is firmly removed from it, maybe you then start playing with Cody being a little bit more aggressive, a little more snarky, sarcastic, and not really taking any crap. Because if Cody stays champion, but you eventually start to feel that maybe fans are starting to kind of get sick of it, or they start feeling like it's tired, then you start peppering in a little bit more of the heel tendencies that Cody could do. And if you did that, you get a really interesting character, especially if he's champion still. Then you feel like he's unstoppable. And because I do worry that you have Cody Rhodes become the next version of John Cena, where he never turns heel and the fans want it, and then they get sick of him for a couple of years, and then he comes back and then everyone loves him because he's a legend, he's much older. But in this current state, I'm not saying that Cody turns heel tomorrow. It ain't gonna happen. They're gonna keep him solid babyface. He's like #1 merch seller. He's the guy in the company with Roman Reigns, so he's a face. But if they can lean into more of the heel stuff with Cody in a year from now, or even 2 years from now, it would be a lot of fun. Because then he gets that heel run where the fans despise him. He becomes the biggest heel in the company. You could then do the Roman Cody match again, but the third match, it would actually be reversed and it would be flipped, where you'd have Roman as the face taking down this arrogant, self-absorbed version of Cody Rhodes who thinks he is the top guy, and Roman could win. Maybe not for the belt, but you know what I mean. You could do so much more with a heel version of Cody Rhodes. And again, maybe that is after all the bloodline, all the final boss stuff happens, and you need something fresh for his character. I'd love to see it. Who do you think needs a character change in WWE? And if you guys want to talk more stuff about WWE, click this video right here because we got a lot to talk about. Have a great day. See ya.